So I just picked up this Jeep Laredo. Guy I knew had it sitting in his garage for the last couple of years because it started overheating on him. He didn't know what it was, so he was just like, I just want to get rid of it. So he gave it to me for basically scrap price. And I needed something to do, so I started tinkering on it. And, I was just like, well, like the reservoir was full, but it looked like it was a little low here, so I threw in some antifreeze, and well, there's a little problem. There's a big chunk of the radiator missing there. That's not gonna hold water, so I'm gonna go get a new one and throw that in there and see if that fixes the stupid overheating problem, which it should. All right, go to the parts store. Whew. That won't hold coolant. That was the problem. And that was what I was fighting against. So, got the new one. Hopefully it's not so much of a struggle to get it in without having this bullshit. So, go ahead and take the fan shroud off and put that on the new one and get going on putting that in. So I went to work yesterday and I started thinking about it, and the only thing that I could think of that would blow out a radiator like that is if the system was overpressurizing because of that head gasket. So, did the right thing and went ahead and ordered the gasket kit. That'll be here in about a day or so. Till then, I suppose I'll start tearing down the top end and get everything ready to put gaskets in. And I can, while I'm in there, I can check everything out, make sure everything else looks good. But hopefully I'll be able to actually see evidence of what my suspicion is. Alright, well, I'll get started.
Now I gotta pull the fuel rail to get this harness out of the way. I've only got a couple connections left. On this top end. Then we can start pulling off the intake manifold and the valve cover.
Alright, well, I got the last few bolts out of the bottom of the intake manifold. They were a pain in the butt. Had to use wobbly walkers and extensions and craziness. But they're out now, so just gotta move stuff out of the way. Pull this up out of here. Well, now at least it'll be easy to take out the exhaust. Just wasn't easy taking out that intake. It really is annoying how they've got that set up, and it's like, well, they couldn't have just made some kind of provisions in this, like, why can't we just like have some of this cut out so it's a little bit easier to get separated? But I'm sure there's reason. I mean, I suppose like having these fins on here adds structure, but it also acts as a heat sink. So whatever. Know how to do it now, so no sense in crying about it. So this is all done. Went ahead and disconnected or unbolted the alternator, so I pushed that out of the way. There's 2 bolts on the alternator bracket for the head, so got those undone. Getting ready to take off the head now. Probably go ahead and take off the valve cover, then I'll take off the head. So pretty much all ready to take this out and see what we got. Hopefully it's pretty obvious, and I guess it shouldn't be that big of a deal to replace the gasket. That should be here today, so go ahead and get started taking off this valve cover then. Alright, so I'm back at it again today. I got the top of the motor cleaned up, stoned it. Same thing with the head. Cleaned up the gasket surface, stoned it. And for the exhaust, I went ahead and cleaned that up as well. So everything, all surfaces are ready. Got the new gasket set in. So I'm using the engine lift to put the head down in there so I don't have to like finagle it in there. It's a little heavy for me by myself at least to do that. Even with another person, like lifting an iron head into there, you're chancing like messing up your gasket surface. So I just play it safe, use the engine lift, and then I can set it down on there a little more gently. So go ahead and start squirreling her in there and Needs all the ooga doogas. You gotta make the noises. Urga durga durga. Head bolts are all torqued down now, so that's great. Gotta get the exhaust gasket on, and then get those put on. Those you torque it down until you can't fucking see straight. But yeah, coming along. Alright, now I can move on to putting on my exhaust gasket. And then it's going to be a fun task of putting that, I suppose I can go ahead, before I start moving a lot of stuff in here, I'll go ahead and put the valve cover on, just because then I don't have to work around like not getting anything else in here. It'd be my luck that I'm gonna drop a bolt in there or something, and then I gotta tear everything back down again. So I'll go ahead and put the valve cover back on, get that torqued down, and then move on to exhaust and intake. Intake was the worst. The bottom bolts on that intake manifold were awful. Like, I'm sure that somebody out there probably knows an easier way to get to them, but I couldn't figure it out. I had to have like a couple knuckles on a ratchet, and it was just awful. I hated it. But it is what it is. Deal with it. It'll be fine. You just gotta struggle. I gotta remember which way it goes. Yeah. Oh. So, obviously I didn't pay attention, and I put a bolt in the wrong spot. That one is supposed to be right here. Dang it! So I guess I gotta swap those two bolts and re-torque them. That sucks. Especially that back one. That back one's kind of a pain in the ass to get to. Oh well. No sense crying about it. Just take it out and redo it. Alright. Now they're in the right spot. Try this again. That's a little more righter. Pretty sure this was the front.
I can't remember if there were any of the stud ones on this side, but I'm pretty sure all the stud ones were on that side. We'll go with that. And then, of course, I'll put one in the wrong place, like I did on the head bolts. And I'll take it back out, move it to where it needs to be. But that's not that big a deal. These are a little bit easier to deal with, so. It's only five pounds. It's not even 5 pounds, 4.5 pounds. I don't even know if my torque wrench goes that low. And I don't have my other little one, my little baby one. You know, I'm just gonna have to use the old hand torque meter and guess. Go around and double check all of them. Glad I looked it up actually, because they say, because that torque spec is super low. I would have just tightened the piss out of them. They say that's not good. I'll trust the engine nerds on this one. If it starts leaking, I'll yell at somebody. Whew. Let's see what time it is. Well, I got about an hour before I gotta go to work, so figure I'll go ahead and start putting everything else on. Let's see. Should we do the exhaust? Yes. We'll do the exhaust first, and then do the plug boots of the whole coil pack. Put that back on there. Get that tightened out. Oh yeah, I forgot. Almost. Don't want to forget this one. I'll go ahead and do this while I'm thinking about it. There's a ground that goes on that stud. Go ahead and put that on before I forget about it, because I will forget about it. Okay. Well, we're checking stuff off the list. It's slowly but surely. Generally, doing like a head gasket like this would only take me a day to do, but it's what you got to deal with when you work. So I made the wise decision of not taking the exhaust manifolds all the way off. I just loosened them up on the exhaust so that they would flop back, but I probably should have just taken them all the way off. Dang it. It would be a pain right now to try to do that, because now that it's flopping, those bolts are going to be a pain to take off. Well, that wasn't near as bad as what I was thinking it was going to be. Well, I was just putting in the top bolts, so the, was it 3 or 4 on the bottom? I think it's 3. Those ones are going to be a bitch. But, gotta be done. So yeah, belt on, everything's connected as far as I can tell. I'm sure the computer will yell at me if I didn't. But as far as I can see, everything's all good. So yeah, I'm just going to put the breather on and like hook that up. Should be good to start it. Now, oh, I'm missing one clip. Not entirely sure where this one went. It's extra. I know this one went to another bracket over here, but I deleted that one because the clip broke anyways, so yeah. It'll be fine. Pretty sure, yeah, it was to this one. The clip broke off of it. So, just need to get this clip back on, and should be ready to start up. A little smoky. raised from the new gaskets and all the cleaner and everything that I put on. Pretty sure I tightened down all the bolts for the intake. Pretty sure. Might just let it run, let it smoke off. You know what it is actually? I just remembered. I didn't tighten the exhaust by the cats. That's why it's a little louder than it was before. I was just like, I don't remember it being this loud, but that's fine. I'll let it cool off for a little bit, and then I'll tighten up those exhaust bolts again. Yeah, I got excited about getting the top end fully put back together. Totally forgot about those exhaust bolts. Live and learn. That's the way she goes. Well, I got good news and bad news. Good news is it starts, runs. Bad news is, well, I suppose it's good news too. I figured out probably what was the root cause of everything, which is the radiator fan is dead. I just tested it and I got nothing. So now I gotta replace that. It happens. I wish I would have tested it when I had the radiator out. It would have been super easy to do, but I did not, and I probably won't make that mistake again because that radiator was a pain to get out, and I don't know that I can get that. I don't know that I can get that fan out without taking out the radiator. So, yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to pull the radiator again. So that's awesome. That's mostly the bad news, but it's mostly good news. So, yeah, I'll just I gotta go get a new radiator fan and put that in there, and should be all good to go. Everything else is good. Like, no leaks, everything starts fine, just no fan. So, I suppose that'll be the project for tomorrow is I just gotta go get a radiator fan and pull this one out. That'll be a real grand time doing it twice. Alright, well, I got new electric fan put in. Should be kicking on anytime now. It's almost up to temp. So hopefully this resolves all the overheating issues. Fan just kicked on. Temperature gauge is already dropping, so yeah, seems like everything's gonna be good. I'll get everything cleaned up and then go take it for a test rip, make sure that it actually stays cool while driving. I gotta get the fan shroud back on. Other than that, I think we're all good to go.
Well, I've been driving for about a half an hour now, and temperature's staying great. Car's running great. I think this one's all whipped out now. Needs a little other touches, like it needs a little brake work. I think it's mostly just from sitting. So I'll probably take the wheels off later, clean up the rotors, check the pads, bleed the brakes, and other than that, I'm pretty darn happy with it. So I think that'll be it for today. I'm gonna start driving home, I guess. Thanks for watching.